It came to our world without a notice, and as we speak, it's spreading like bushfire across continents in the world. We don't know if we'll ever contract it in our lifetime. We also do not know if our loved ones will fall victims of it. The very best we can do is to pray that neither of the two happens. Coronavirus is here with us. Medical scientists prefer to call it COVID-19. But whatever its name is doesn't really matter. What matters is that it's a very lethal virus that is claiming a lot of lives in real time. Just how are we prepared as a people? Welcome to Next Page. How we handle some of these global crisis moments remain hilarious. We create memes out of it, we create GIFs out of it, and we always want to look for a light moment in every situation, despite the seriousness that is in it. It has its advantages, it has its disadvantages, but that is what defines us as a people. Somebody wrote in the newspapers the other day that the only reason that Africa as a continent is registering lower cases of COVID-19 is our biological structures. I wouldn't dive into that because I'm no expert on human anatomy and whatnot, but it is real. It's been confirmed. Governments, leaders, technocrats, public intellectuals are all having sleepless nights trying to engineer an antidote to it. But that aside, what about you? How prepared are you for this particular menace? Whatever COVID-19 is, whether it's just an ordinary stubborn virus or it's a very lethal bio weapon or whatever it is, maybe engineered in some foreign laboratory, whatever it is, truth of the matter is that it's here with us. We don't know when it's going to be on our door, and we can't really reevaluate our state of preparedness. But I think this presents an opportunity for mankind to approach it, not medically, not policy-wise on how governments would want to, but I think this is a clarion call for humanity to become closer to one another. I think this is a time that you can actually go and be closer to your families, hold their hands, hug them, and remind them that you love them. Because trust me, you don't know when this particular virus is going to hit the Kenyan airspace, and you know when it's going to really hit our motherland or our territorial waters. We can't make medical or technological forecasts on it, but it gives us an opportunity to not only be careful with our health, but also our state of mind, to remind those close to us that they mean a lot to us, and whatever happens, in the worst case scenario that it hits us as a country, however much unprepared we are, we will always be together as a people, and of course we shall forge forward knowing that indeed we will always be there for our loved ones, we'll always be there for our parents, we will always be there for our children, our sisters, our brothers, and of course our friends. One would perhaps want to wonder why I have a clarion call for humanity to come closer to one another during these COVID-19 moments. Just a while ago, perhaps last week, I bumped onto an article in the internet that when I was reading that particular article, I was in a car headed somewhere, and I want to tell you guys that particular article shook me to the core. I don't know how factual that particular article is, I don't know how truthful it is, but the content was psychologically moving. The content was so intentional, and it was sending a particular message. There's a link on the description down below on where you can find that article and perhaps read it for yourself. But it was purportedly written by a high-ranking medical stroke military officer in the Communist Party in China. Remember, the Communist Party is the leading political outfit in that part of the world. And he, towards the end of that particular article, he says that he can no longer live in a clean conscience because he's part of the elite medical team that bioengineered that particular reagent. It was meant to suppress the mental ability of certain people who are going against the government of Xi Jinping, but we really can't verify all that. But his clarion call was that COVID-19 is real, COVID-19 is lethal, and COVID-19 is actually sweeping the world. Until such a time that perhaps some medical expert somewhere in some forgotten part of the world will engineer an antidote for COVID-19, we can't be 100% prepared. We can only come closer with each other. We can try to redefine true friendships and hold close our families like we never did. What has continued to conclusively test the stretch of the human mind is the vanity nature of humanity itself. Whereas man has tried so much to understand life, man has also tried in equal measure to create life. And right now, man is also desperately trying to do away with life itself. Ever since COVID-19 shook global headlines, conversations around the very nature of life has emerged. Hard questions have continued to be asked, like, yes, it came, it's very lethal, but will it go away? Why did it come? Who engineered it? Why did God allow it to come if so he loved his people? These are questions sometimes we shy away from asking ourselves, but these are questions out there. But these are questions that exist, and these are questions that humans have continued to try to find answers to. The ultimate destination for humankind is presumably and arguably known by only one supreme being, and that is God. Whereas mankind can move around and try to find instantaneous solutions to emerging problems like sickness, financial problems, and what have you, God holds the final and the ultimate algebra of where we came from and where we are headed to as humanity. His clarion call remains that we do things in tandem to goodness. We do things that are morally acceptable. And things that are either morally acceptable or unacceptable are just but self-predetermined. We cannot have collective truths. Truths identify personally. It's only in you. That is my take on COVID-19, coronavirus. Those views I have expressed are the outcomes of my thought. They do not reflect the position of a government. They do not reflect the position of a civil society. They do not reflect the opinion of my family or my friends. Those are purely mine. But I believe in them. I can stand with them at any particular point in time. And I'm asking you, my dear viewer, that if you really want to make the world a better place, if you want to realize a world that is more just, a world that is more tranquil, then I dare you to go back home and love your family. Bye-bye.